I'm Ed Zollers of Current Federal Tax Developments with Nichols Patrick CPA Incorporated, and I want to talk to you briefly about a course we're going to be handling here in the state of New Jersey. It's going to be a course that deals with CPA succession planning, and that course will be handled in Roseland, New Jersey on July the 20th of this year, dealing with the wonderful topic that we all hate to deal with, which is what's going to happen and how we're going to gain value for ourselves for retirement or for our families if we pass away from the practice that we've spent our entire life building. It always makes for a interesting problem and something that we quite often put off because we just don't like thinking about it. In the course in question, we're going to spend some time hopefully talking among ourselves and talking with everybody else there, because nobody has all the answers here, but we can kind of talk about what we've seen. And some of the topics we're going to be covering in that course will include, we'll spend some time looking at what has worked for CPA firms to move a practice to the next generation and what's not worked. So we'll talk about both things that have been successful, things that have not been successful, and maybe how we can hopefully get to the more successful ones. We'll talk about the real big question we all run into. How do we find that willing next generation CPA who is going to take over and purchase, we hope, our practice from us? Where do we find that person? Or for a larger firm, where do we find those people who are going to be able to do that, and what options do we have? We'll also talk about how do we plan for the contingency that we won't find that person who's going to take over the practice directly. Are there other options? Are there ways we can hopefully insulate ourselves so that even if it turns out nobody wants to buy our practice, we're not destitute or haven't left our families destitute at the end of our practice life? And finally, we want to consider, especially for sole proprietors, what would happen to your practice if you died or were disabled tomorrow? Or if you're a small practice with one or two partners, what happens if one of your partners dies or is disabled tomorrow? I can bring some special information to this because I have been twice in my career through a situation here with the firm I'm with where we've had a partner suddenly die. And in fact, what happened was over a period of 2 years, we had effectively 100% turnover. And so we'll talk about what some of the things I learned being on the side of being the person stepping in to take over a practice, talk about how the program was set up, how it worked well, how it didn't work well. It worked well enough that at least we're still here today. So I guess that's the good news. But we'll talk about all of those issues in the course. So if you think you might be interested in that, you want to go ahead and be sure you sign up. You can register now at www.njcpa.org for the live CPE session to be held on July 20th in Roseland, New Jersey at the New Jersey CPA Society's Education Center. The event code for this session is E160711. If you go online, you can just put that in. There's a shortcut when you search for live CPE. You can put that in, you'll get directly to this course. And I look forward to seeing all of you as we talk about the issues that we all need to deal with about how to handle succession in our practice.